Greetings, Commanders, and welcome back to Elite Dangerous. In today's video, I'm going to take a break from going out into the field and doing stuff to kind of talk about my Mandalay build and the way that we have it set up right now. I am more and more coming to believe that the Mandalay is an awesome platform if your goal is to have the ability to do a little bit of everything. Now, obviously, there are other ships out there that do combat better. There are other ships out there that do transport better. I mean, we're not doing transport in this ship anyway. There are other ships out there that do a lot of different things better. But I feel like the biggest thing that provides the Mandalay kind of a leg up on everybody is, A, the inherent jump range and the heat management, and also just the maneuverability that it has for a medium-sized ship. So if you followed the series for any length of time, you know that we had the Cobra Mark V for a while. That was our primary bounty hunting platform. And it's a great ship when you're wanting to do like ship combat and stuff like that. But I don't know. There was just something about it that just didn't feel bounty hunter-ish to me. It felt a little bit small. It felt like Pilot's first bounty hunting ship. And while it's fun to, you know, have the crazy turn rates and be able to stay behind the enemy and blast them down with your frag cannons, it's just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like a long-term stay out in the black kind of platform for me. I don't know, there's something about it. Then we tried out the Corsair, and the sluggish turn rate as compared to the Cobra just didn't feel all that great. And the problem with both of those ships is just that they just don't have the jump range that the Mandalay has. And I like having the capability of being able to kind of switch gears very quickly without having to swap out a bunch of equipment and just go take care of something when, say, a community goal pops up and, you know, hey, I want to go do this, so let me shift over to doing this, and the community goals X number of light years away, and it's going to take me, you know, a lot more jumps in my Cobra or my Corsair, whereas my Mandalay might be able to do it in 2 or 3 rather than like 5 or 6. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's really nice when you're able to do that. And so, yeah, that's kind of my rationale behind the Mandalay. If you're going to pick something and you're going to focus on it being a generalist kind of a thing, then you're going to have to make some compromises with that. And that means you're not going to be the most effective in combat. You're not going to be the most effective in pretty much anything, but you're going to be halfway decent at just about all of it. And ideally, pilot skill will make up for the deficiencies that your ship happens to have. So right now, I just want to kind of go through the build as we have it right now, explain how everything works, so that if you want to try to replicate this for yourself, you can, and maybe have some fun with it. So we'll start off with our weapons. We're doing an all frag cannon build, and the reason why the Mandalay really stands out to me for this build is that while it doesn't have the maneuverability of the Cobra, for a medium-sized ship, it is absolutely very fast and it's absolutely very maneuverable. It turns very quickly. And for the most part, I'm able to stay behind my enemies like I was in the Cobra. Obviously, it's a little bit more difficult. You stay behind them a little bit less of the time. But compared to, say, the Corsair, which obviously has a lot more firepower, the ability to just kind of slot in behind your target and they're not really able to bring their weapons to bear on you makes it really nice. And then you get it really close with these frag cannons. I mean, you got 6 frag cannons here, 4 class 2s and 2 class 1s, and you're going to shred some people to death with it. So the only things we really need to talk about are the modifications for it. For the most part, we're just doing double shot for all of these because it's basically doubling your damage output per shot and making it so that you're doing high amounts of damage per second. And then for the experimental effects, we have incendiary rounds on one of the larger ones to kind of melt through the shields, and then we have oversized for the other 3 so that they just maximize their DPS. And then for the class 1 options, we have corrosive shell to do some damage over time to the armor and weaken it, as well as drag munitions to make it so that they're a little bit less maneuverable. It makes it a little bit easier for us to stay on target and to stay behind them. But yeah, your goal when you're fighting in this thing is to not do the jousting thing. You're trying to do, you know, modern day fighter jet style, slot in behind them, get a what is it, low aspect shot or high, I forget, whatever it is when you're doing the 2 circle fight behind the fighter and you're trying to just like get in behind them and blast them to death. So that's fighting right there. As far as our utility mounts, we have a couple of point defense turrets to protect us from missiles, and then a couple of shield boosters to increase our shields. Our shield strength right now is 686. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. But yeah, we have a couple of shield boosters just to help out with our overall defense. As far as armor, oh, you know what? I actually think I need to I don't know. Realistically, I don't really fight once I get down to the point where my shields are almost gone. Like if my shields are about to fall, I'm like, yeah, this fight's about done. So I wouldn't really worry too much about the armor here. It's nice to be able to do something with it and, you know, cool, but excuse me, for the most part, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Just stick with whatever armor you decide you really want to have. Just enough power plant to power all of the stuff that we need. Max thrusters with drag drives to give us a max speed, max frame shift drive with boosted. This is the pre-engineered model, but what you're going to want is you're going to want mass manager and boosted range and mass manager for your effects. Life support, just, you know, get the lightest thing you can possibly get. Power distributor, max power distributor, because we're trying to make it so that our capacitor is recharging as quickly as we can. Super conduits makes everything recharge much faster. Sensors, you want if you're going to focus on combat, you really want the maximum here, but I just had this 5D sensors sitting in my inventory over at Jameson, and I just kind of popped that in there. I don't really find it to be that much of an issue because for the most part, we don't really have to worry about sensors that much. When we're almost always going after single targets, we're not spending too much time in the Haz-Res trying to look for people. So sensors aren't really that big of a deal unless you plan on spending a bunch of time in the Haz-Res, and if you're going to do that, you really want to go ahead and go with the 5A sensors, maxed out range and all that stuff for that. So for the most part, we have everything set up so that we can, you know, max maneuverability, max range, and then max power. Oh, I don't have the max power distributor. I think I just had this kind of sitting in here. If you're going to focus on combat, obviously sensors and power distributor, you want to go with 5A for both of these. You still want the charge enhanced and super conduits, and you're going to want the extended range for these. I just kind of happen to have these in here. I'm good enough at combat that I don't really need to have both of these maxed out, but if you're really going to be combat focused in your all-rounder build, then you're going to want to do that. As far as our optional internals, I decided that I wanted to have the ability to kind of switch gears and go far away to do things, especially if I want to go farming materials. If I need to go to the Jameson crash site, or if I need to go somewhere to, you know, start farming some raw materials, I don't want to have to go stop off at Jameson Memorial to swap out my equipment to go do that. I want to be able to just kind of go. And so because of my exploration background, I believe in the... why do I have a 6B fuel scoop? I'm dumb. I'm going to go back to Jameson Memorial after this and fix that because it's supposed to be the 6A fuel scoop. I don't know what... I could have swore I picked the biggest one. 6A fuel scoop. I would recommend a 6A fuel scoop with the 5H Guardian frameshift drive. As you can see down at the bottom, our current jump range is right around 70 light years, which honestly is an amazing jump range for pretty much any ship. The fuel scoop will make it so that you can quickly travel from one point to another. If you decide, hey, I want to move over to this other part of the thing, you don't have to go and re-equip things. You don't have to stop off for fuel every 4 or 5 systems. It's nice to be able to just kind of top off your fuel as you go and not have to wait forever to do it. And I'm going to get the 6A fuel. Like that's a travesty that I missed that. And then everything else, we went ahead and got to the bi-weave shield generator. I did finally get around to switching my blueprint over to enhanced low power shields grade 5 for these because I've been running around with a max of grade 3 and that's not really helping out. You can see from my shield strength here, the shield strength before with having the biggest shield up here was right around 795, I think. So we've given up about 100 shield to move down to a smaller shield generator. But the benefit is that we've only lost 100, and because I've been able to max out my stuff, max out my engineering for this, we've only lost 100. And if you watch the fights that I do, the fighting style that we're doing, we're not really taking that much damage. We're trying to avoid fights where we're going to take a lot of damage. We're trying to ambush our targets. If we're getting to the point where 100 shield is the definitive factor of whether we're going to be able to finish a fight or not, then we made bad decisions before we even started the fight, and that's a problem. So ideally, shield strength is not going to be the thing that determines your ability to get things done. You should not be, in this ship, you should not be taking on fights where worrying about your shields are even really a thing. You're going to want to be, setting yourself up so that the enemy never even really gets a clean shot at you. And so having these shields is more of an insurance policy than a strategy. So that's why I decided I wanted to go with the fuel scoop and the smaller shield, so that if we bump into things, we have some shields. If we take a little bit of damage during a fight, we have some shields, and we don't have to replace our armor and all of that. And then the rest of it is just Guardian shield reinforcements, the planetary hangar vehicle. I'm going to find something to put into this slot here, because I haven't decided what I want to put in this slot. Probably just going to be another small little armor shield reinforcement package. We have the detailed surface scanner here in case we want to go do some light exploration, and then the planetary vehicle hangar here, which has our SRV in it for if we need to do any kind of on-surface stuff. And we have the Scarab here for that, because it's a you know, it's not the most survivable thing, but it is a general all-rounder, and we're going for general all-rounder for this build. So yeah, that's more or less everything we have going on. As I said, we're not really trying to do any one specific task extremely well. By definition, if you're going for an all-rounder kind of a setup, you're not going to get that. You're going to get decent at a bunch of different things, but not really great or excelling at anything else. And this ship feels like it's really set up for that. Obviously, if you hyper-specify jump range, then obviously that's what it's going to excel at. But it has the bones and the capability to do a bunch of different things, and because it's a medium-sized ship, it also has that kind of feeling of, you know, a platform that you're going to stay out in space in for a while, and not just, you know, go out, come back to a base, go out, come back to a base. To be perfectly honest with you, with the 70 light-year jump range, I'd almost be willing to just take this out into the black. You know, having another, if I swapped everything else out for the things that I normally do, we'd probably have 75, 76 light-year jump range. I mean, the only things I would have to swap out would be, I would probably swap out these Guardian shield reinforcements for some repair systems. And I mean, I don't know. We might actually gain a little bit of range out of that. Maybe. I don't know. But for the most part, like, this would be a build you could take out into the black. And yeah, you're never going to fight anything, but at least you'd have the weapons to do it if you needed to. You know. So yeah, that's it for this build. Hopefully all of that made sense. Hit the like button, subscribe to help us reach 10,000 subscribers, join as a member for early access to videos, or just leave a tip with the thanks button. I also have PayPal and Patreon links for those of you who would prefer to go outside of YouTube for that. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you for the next one.